Well, we just completed arguably the craziest college football coaching carousel ever. That we did. I agree with that. Give me 5 head coaching jobs you think might come open next year for any reason. Well, I didn't have to do it because he listed 5 of them. So he listed Auburn, North Carolina, Arizona State, Iowa, and Florida State. What I'm going to do, instead of just haphazardly throwing out ideas of my own yet, since it's only April, is I'm going to go down that list. I'll tell you how likely I think it is that these jobs come open. Start with Auburn. There was a lot of debate amongst Jesse and Colin and I today about what percentage chance we would put here. What percentage chance, by the way, for you listening or watching, would you put on Auburn as a head coaching job opening up after this coming year? I think a lot of folks are going well above 50%. I'm not, just because it always seems really clear cut when you're well away from the decision needing to be made, and then all sorts of things can happen between now and then. Not the least of which is maybe Brian Harsin just wins more than you think he would. I saw a book put out win totals for SEC Western Division teams the other day. Auburn was 5. That's the over-under, thereabouts, 5 that you can expect for Auburn. So what if Harsin goes 7-5? What if he goes 8-4? You firing him? I don't think so. So Brian Harsin, I put it at 45%. I think I want to go lower than that now that I'm live. I think I want to go about 40% on Brian Harsin. You got to keep in mind with all that, it's not just a normal program, it's Auburn, so that's worth a good 15% knowing the dynamics down there. Let me give Harsin 40% chance that there is a change being made there. North Carolina, I'm not sure where this one came from. I don't think there's any kind of unrest there. Sure, they fell short of expectation last year, but let's remember, this is North Carolina and they're recruiting very well, much better consistently than they have for several cycles of coaching staffs that have come through Chapel Hill. I put this at 10%. And to me, the only chance that a change is happening there is if Mack Brown were to up and decide to retire. Crazier things have happened. I don't think anyone thought, even when Mack Brown got hired there, he was going to stay there a decade. But I also don't expect him to hang it up in the next 12 months. So 10%. And that 10% is just the standard, anything could happen. What about Arizona State? A lot of us, myself included, are surprised that Herm is still there. I always find this hard to talk about because, like, Herm Edwards is a man's man. He's kind of the guy that you'd want to hang out with, but they've had problems out there, and it's been well documented on this show and elsewhere. 80%. I went really high on this. I think there's an 80% chance that they're making a coaching change. Remember not too long ago, we did a show where I read you a bunch of quotes that some administrators out there at Arizona State had given on a Phoenix radio station. And they were talking about an NCAA investigation during the investigation, which I found a little odd. Everybody else has been shown the door but Herm. So I think it's a matter of time. The nature of that investigation is ongoing. And I think even within the NCAA's parameters, this thing can't move so slow that we don't have a resolution by the end of this season. Could it? Could it? Yeah, I guess it could. 80%. Iowa, kind of ditto to North Carolina here. Kirk Ferentz is at Iowa. He gets a contract extension every year, it seems. Kirk Ferentz and Mark Stoops at Iowa and Kentucky, respectively, they've got life figured out. Not just college football. They got life figured out. They get paid generational money to coach at places where the expectations are well checked and within reason. The culture's rock solid. The people are rock solid. And the program, as a result, is rock solid. Kirk Ferentz, I put at 10%. And it's the same as I thought with Mack Brown. If he retires, he retires. And you're making a coaching change. But if we're talking about firing, if we're talking about replacing a guy because he got shown the door, I don't see that happening. So 10%, and that's all encompassing. The last one was Florida State. I think there's going to be a fair amount of debate on this one, too. I'm not going very high with Norvell either. I think he's going to be safe there. I think they're going to improve this year record-wise. So 15% is what I put on this, and that's if they were to have another disastrous year this season. Keep in mind, I've said this a few times over about the past month, the thing to remember with Norvell, unlike some of his predecessors and unlike just some other folks that don't know how to handle this stuff elsewhere in college football, he didn't sell you a bill of goods when he got there. If you're a Florida State fan, you know this. If you live in, Colorado, you may not know this. He didn't walk in the door and promise people things. In fact, quite the opposite. He promised them there was a hard couple of years ahead. And they've dealt with it so far. So year 3 now, what do they want? They want to win 8 games. It's a very clear number there. There's the snowman. They want to win 8 games. So give them a snowman this year or thereabouts, and they'll be good with you. 15% is the chances that I give there being a coaching change made there. So that's where I look around the country so far and see people really needing to have big years this year.